I'm making some bread today, and I'm using Jackson's recipe that he calls a versatile dough. You can use it for hamburger buns, hot dog buns, hoagie rolls, all that sort of stuff. And the reason I'm making this video is because, well, as I was making this, I realized that the yeast I'm using had a Best By date of February of 2011, so it's almost 2 years past the Best By date, and it still works fine. And you're about to see just how fine it works, because the top is about to come off this machine. The recipe, the quantity was a bit much for the machine, but this old yeast rises just fine. And I had it stored in my garage along with all my other food storage, and after I opened the jar, then I kept it refrigerated. But if you have any concerns about how long yeast will keep, this has been keeping fine 2 years beyond the Best By date. I don't know if you can see this or not. But the yeast works. Believe me. It rose and stuck to the top. I'll put a link to this recipe in the description box. Jack used to be a professional baker, so he can explain this stuff a lot better than I can. Plus, I don't want him to know that I made this in the bread machine and used vegetable oil instead of olive oil and all sorts of things that he prefers. But I'm a tightwad. So that's how the bread turned out. I apologize for the noisy planes. But here it is, nice soft bread. And the best thing about this is there's no milk, no eggs, and no butter in this recipe. It's completely made by things that you have in your food storage. It's excellent bread, and you can make it in any shape you want. Hamburger buns, hot dog buns, hoagies, something halfway in between, depending on how good you are at gauging this stuff. As you can see, I'm not. But it's a good way to use your food storage. I opened up a jar of pot roast and made sandwiches out of that with some mustard, and tomorrow I'm going to make some meatball subs from meatballs that I canned and some pizza sauce that I canned. So I'll put a link to Jack's video in the description box. Don't tell him that I mixed it up in the bread machine, and you might want to cut the recipe in half if you use a bread machine. Don't tell him I use vegetable oil instead of olive oil, and don't tell him I use regular salt instead of sea salt, or bleached flour either. So then once again, the point of the video is this is from yeast that passed its Best By date nearly 2 years ago. Hope it helps.